Hey, it's Biddy Penny. Welcome to my channel. Today, you guys, it's time for Oh So Inspired. I always have so much fun with this creative team, which is hosted by Call Me Crafty Owl. We're all getting together today and we're all being inspired by Mindy Egan. And you can find her on Instagram. All the links to everything, including the playlist to this collaboration, is listed down below. Okay, these are the things I'm playing with. I'm playing with the Unity Stamp Co. July kit and also these old Tim Holtz stamp sets from last year. I also have these gouache paints, which were supposed to be jelly paints, but they're dried up. But you can reconstitute them with water. And I just felt like I would rather deal with this palette than with bottles of acrylic ink. And so I got these out, sprayed some water, and I used my Dina Wakley mixed media brush. These are my favorite brushes, especially for acrylic or gouache. I just think they're really great. And I'm going to make the arty swoosh that was part of Mindy's design. And that is how I'm inspired today. I'm using my own style, but still pulling inspiration from her design. So I took 3 old book pages. I worked with 3 different color palettes because I'm making 3 cards today, and 1 fall, 2 Christmas. Why not? If we're going to do Christmas in July, we might as well throw in a fall card as well. That's what I was thinking, anyways. I don't send a lot of fall cards, but at least I can work with the color palette. I can work with some of the images and make some fun cards that really could be used all year or sent during the fall season. So, using the Unity Stamp Co. set, which is the July set, I am using my scraps from making my card fronts. My card fronts today measure 6 3/4 by 4 3/4, and so I have these scraps left over, which I'm stamping on and going to use these in the background of this fall card. I also used the other 2 Tim Holtz stamp sets and made backgrounds for those cards as well. I left this one in for you guys to see. I'm just using this one skinny little kind of candy cane stick or peppermint stick, and I'm using that, varying how I stamp it at different heights on the card, and I'm going to fill in a background with this one. All 3 of my cards today are 5x7, and I think they really have kind of a vintage feel. I hope you enjoy the cards that I make, but if you don't, it's okay. There's a whole playlist, and you can click on that playlist, and then you can watch the whole team's videos. You don't have to click multiple times. You just let it play, and I'm sure you'll find someone who maybe represents your style and the things that you like. I think it's really fun to look on Pinterest, look on Instagram, even YouTube, see inspiration, but then take it and make it your own, which is one thing that I absolutely love about being on this creative team, is the idea that I get to find whatever kind of inspiration that strikes my fancy and then make cards based on that. So I just love this creative team, the Oh So Inspired team. All right, I am going to tear my paint swatches with my thumbs. If you work the paper using your thumbs to kind of protect the area you don't want to tear, and then use the other thumb in an opposing manner to tear the paper, you can really control the paper quite well. Like, this is an old book page. They tend to be brittle. They tend to be quite uncontrollable, but you can control them. You can do the same method there on the desk, but I find that holding it in my hands is more preferred. So the card inspiration was using a stamp set, and I thought, well, I know I probably have a stamp set like that in my stash, but I don't even want to find it. I'm just going to use my gouache. I'm going to paint my own swatches and hopefully inspire you guys to do something similar. Like, you don't have to have every stamp set, every die set, everything that you always see. People using, just make it your own. So I was really hoping to inspire y'all with that idea as well today. I am using my Tim Holtz watercolor pencils to color in these little daisies or flowers. Real simple. I'm not doing any shading or, blending, anything like that. I'm just simply taking the watercolor distress pencil and coloring these in. The Unity Stamp Co., I absolutely adore the illustrators that they use and their designs of their stamps because it's not a labor of love for me to color things. So I just love that it just takes simple techniques and they turn out quite stunning. Now, if I had stamped that on watercolor paper, I could have spritzed it with water and gotten some really interesting results, but I kept it pretty simple. I did fussy cut it out, and then I die cut this vase from a set that I got from Spellbinders last year. And I love vases and I love flowers. Y'all know I love flowers. So it makes sense for me to have some dies that I can use and make different sized vases and bouquets and things like that in my card making and journal making. So I thought that the aged mahogany was a really interesting color to kind of play with this palette. And then I went around it with the espresso color. I'm blanking on the name, it's fine. And just went around the edges. And then I did a few more edits, which actually I wish I would have left more of those stems in that I'm cutting out down here at the bottom, but whatever. It all works out in the end. I did die cut the vase twice, and I decided all of those little flowers that are in the kind of spray of the bouquet, I'm going to pop up, and then the rest of it I'm going to glue down. So it's kind of going to be interesting. I wouldn't say it was like a total win necessarily, but if you don't experiment, how will you find out? I just wanted to play with it in that way and see if it would work. And I do like it, but I think it would have been much more successful with a dimensional piece of foam that wasn't so thick and so dimensional. If I had used, for instance, like the Stampin' Up! Thinner foam squares, it would have been better. Either way, it works. I'm happy with it. It's fine. It's a card. And I just don't let things like that stress me out. I'm not a perfectionist anymore. I used to be, but I have recovered. So now I get both of my die cuts down, and then I did stamp a sentiment onto one of my jelly prints, and I just like the way it kind of filled in that area there, and a little bit of a gap that I felt like was in the design. And I'm just mashing it down with my scissors so I don't pick up any of that pigment ink from the VersaFine Onyx Black ink onto my fingers, because that happens to me sometimes. And then I put this little burlap there, and I'm going to attach this to like this mustard seed colored cardstock. This is a 5x7 card. All the 3 cards that I'm working on are. I love this one. This one turned out to be my favorite, and I was most concerned about it, especially with the background that I had started with. I did decide to go in and add just a touch of the softest blue around this piece of ephemera that I stamped out and made, basically. I just felt like it needed to be softened, and I thought like that very soft blue would add a nice touch, and I do like it. It just kind of helps it blend a little more. And I didn't add any water or anything. I just colored straight onto the piece. Now, obviously, if you're following along and making something similar, you may want to color it before you put it onto your card. but sometimes I think of things afterwards. So here are my three cards. I had so much fun making these. This one was feeling a little plain, even when I went to compare it to that Christmas tree card. So I added some bling, and that feels more like it. I added it around the edges and then also to the flower centers. Love the way that card came together. Here is my Christmas tree card. I really love this one. I stamped the background. I used the paint. Used the stamp set to make tags and labels. And then here's the peppermint one. Again, I just tore out that paint. I stamped up a couple of pieces of ephemera, added some ribbon, and those are my three cards. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.